So Einstein, Newton, jokes and memes apart, the issue at hand is serious. Economies go through cycles of boom and bust. During boom, the economy grows, the labour market is healthy and investors earn high returns. During bust, the economy shrinks. The severity also changes with each such cycle. This has been the history of capitalist economies. But it's important to diagnose slowdowns. How big is this one? How long will it last? What has caused it? Could it have been prevented? And what should the government do to fix it now? Our next report explores.
Is India's economy in a spot of bother? Ever since the latest GDP figures came out, economy has become the buzzword.
The growth rate, still in comparison to many of these countries, high, and if anything, even compared to China and the United States, our growth rate is higher than everybody else.
The finance minister sought to quell fears, but the comment was ridiculed. Sure, the comparison was off the mark, but she has a point. The growth slowdown is being felt across the world. So what caused it in India? India's chief economic advisor blames factors at home and outside. So what are these factors? Slow rural growth tops the list. Then comes inflation. The central bank had to target inflation. It adopted a hawkish monetary policy which did not help matters. Indian economy, despite the rural growth slowdown, marched on through 2 years of drought. Inherited problems like bad loans continue to bleed banks. Reforms like demonetization disrupted the informal sector. Droughts, deceleration of credit growth, disruption due to reforms, decline in consumption, and the domino effect of the NBFC crisis, together they trigger the slowdown. So how big is this slowdown? After all, GDP is just another lagging indicator and a generic one. Domestic consumption has nosedived in the last quarter. Automobile sales figures, home sales, bank retail loans, volume growth of FMCG companies, non-oil, non-metal imports, all of them indicate a slowdown in consumption. So how is the investment climate? The picture is far from rosy. The number of new projects has fallen. Private investment has fallen. The value of new projects announced during Q1 FY20 fell by nearly 80% year on year. This is a 15-year low. So what has the government done? The government is spending more to pump prime the growth. In the last 2 years, government expenditure has grown by 19.1% and 13.2% respectively. And the slowdown seems to have spilled into the labour market as well. Though there are no accurate figures to measure unemployment, the picture looks bleak. So, what else can the government do? The fall in consumption needs to be addressed, and the finance minister has already announced measures.
The enhanced surcharge on FPI goes. In simple words. In other words, the pre-budget position is restored. 12 solidly present, well consolidated, energized, adequately capital endowed banks will now operate to target our 5 trillion economy and give the necessary support for the banking facilities which is so required by our customers today.
Will these measures help? Experts are divided. A fiscal package is needed, but the government must plug holes in expenditure. But fiscal stimulus is not a magic wand. It has side effects like inflation and deficit. The clock is ticking, and the government has to act. This stimulus should be spent on production and to revive demand. The June production figures show that growth contracted in 7 out of the 16 key sectors. The nature of the stimulus package is as important as the size of the package. It's clear that the economy needs a fix, not a quick fix, but far-fetched reforms that would revive all the segments of the Indian economy. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.